The question that Brother Lau reminded me of is whether one can achieve samadhi outside of the Satipatthana. Earlier in our studies, in our introduction, we mentioned that, in passing, that Professor Kwan Zhefu of Taiwan has proposed this theory that the Buddha initially taught Kayagata Sati as self-introspection. Then later on in his teaching career, he developed that into more detail into the Satipatthanas. And he says that the Satipatthana is actually a general principle of how to look at the subject-object relationship of the person, of the personality, of the individual. And there were no specific exercises. These specific exercises were put in by later compilers of the Tipitaka, and it started off by getting the whole chunk from Kayagata Sati. So according to him, they started to invent Kayagata Sati first, and then from there they took some parts and put it into Kayanupasana, and then they took the part on the Chittanupasana from those passages about reading other people's minds and put it in there, and so forth. Now they pieced everything together and make it into a nice sutta called the Satipatthana Sutta, and even a nicer one called the Satipatthana Sutta in the Digha Nikaya. As we saw in the range of the awakening factors, it is not limited only to the 4 Satipatthanas, right? We saw that the awakening factors can be found in many other meditations, like the 4 Brahma Viharas, right? And also while you are listening to Dhamma talk intently. There are many suttas where the Buddha talked about people who contemplate the 5 khandhas and the 6 sense bases and how they get enlightened, how they get awakened. So it seems that whatever right samadhi that we get, it comes out of Satipatthana, but not necessarily according to the Satipatthana that we have right now. Not necessarily constricted to the exercises that can be found in our current extant Satipatthana Sutta. As long as the principles of Satipatthana are there and they are applied to any meditation, then it should lead to right samadhi.
And I have 2 questions. One is how to develop samadhi for a cancer patient.
Oh yeah, coming again, reminding me again.
And another question is in Paticca Samuppada, Avijja Paccayo Sankhara. The Sankhara here, how to explain?
I'll answer the first question to you personally, because we don't have much time. We are trying to rush for time. Avijja Paccaya Sankhara. That Sankhara is defined in the suttas as Punyabhi Sankhara and Apunyabhi Sankhara, and is talking about volitional actions that cause merits and demerits. Because of ignorance in a sense of not knowing the 4 Noble Truths, not knowing that the 3 characteristics of existence according to what has occurred, that we crave to do merits, prolonging samsara. This comes about because of vidya. If there is vidya, then one would not want to do merits. That's why the Buddha talks about bright karma and dark karma, and then dark and bright karma, and neither dark nor bright karma. Dark karma, of course, is all those evil, unwholesome things. Bright karma is all the good things, all the wholesome things like doing dana, doing dana, observing your sila, and so forth. And then dark and bright karma is a mixture of the 2. Even while you are doing dana, sometimes you get jealous, you want to try to give the best compared to others. All these are also unwholesome thoughts coming in, right? Or you earn a living in an unwholesome way, and then you make use of your wealth to do dana. So this is creating good and bad, dark and bright karma. Then what is neither dark nor bright karma? Neither dark nor bright karma is walking the Noble Eightfold Path. That is also karma, I know, but it's neither dark nor bright, because the karma of observing the precepts as part of the Noble Eightfold Path is for transcending suffering, for liberation. It's not observing the sila in order to be born in a good existence. You know, if you observe a sila in order to be born in the heaven realm next time, or come back as a very rich and fortunate human being, and that is worldly, that is bright karma. But if you observe sila in order to be liberated, that is neither dark nor bright karma. So this is not motivated by avijja, of course. This is motivated by vijja. But what is motivated by avijja is the dark karma and the bright karma, and dark and bright karma. But you want to explain the paticca samuppada, they will need another workshop. Okay, let's go on. Anyone else?
My question, Bhante.
Okay.
Some
Yeah.
of the hindrances here, if we extrapolate, we can actually include things like depression and bipolar disparity. How would Bhante advise people who suffer from these situations?
I think the other day Asma Kumara has already shared something about depression. He said when people are in a deep state of depression, they are not in a condition to do Satipatthana practice. And that's what Dr. Pang also encouraged. If you are already very deep, you can't do Satipatthana practice, go and get medication first. Right?
Okay.
And then when your mind is more settled, then you do Satipatthana practice. In fact, our teacher, Sarov Tejaniya, also went through several bouts of depression, and he had been meditating since he was a kid. You know, he couldn't use Satipatthana to overcome his depression, and he had to finally resort to samatha first. You know, just watch the breath. Every time he missed watching the breath, the depression will come again. You know, so he knew through his own practice that you have to change the subject of your attention. Right? That's the number one for Satipatthana Sutta. So every time he brings his attention back to the breath, that moment is a moment of freedom from suffering, temporary freedom. And then when these moments lengthen and join together, then the mind becomes more and more composed. Then he could look back, and this is depression. But that's because he had a very good meditative base before.
Yeah.
But if it's a patient,
person,
I mean that would not be possible. So it's best to seek psychiatric help first, get some medication, and once you're calm, and then you go on.
What about bipolar disparity?
I don't know whether there's medication for that. I don't know.
Because they kind of like swing from one end to the other end.
I know. But it's good for them to practice when they are in the middle, not swinging anywhere. Let them practice Satipatthana lah. So that when they swing, then they are able to they'll catch it.
It seems I know someone who suffers from that, and she's not in control of her moods. So when she's in the low end, she's like a bull in China.
Yeah, I know. I guess you have to consult a psychiatrist like Dr. Pang. He has both, the psychiatric knowledge as well as meditative knowledge and experience. So he will be the best person to answer this.
Okay.
All right.
Bhante, we have 2 minutes. Can I share something that I thought perhaps could be beneficial?
Okay.
This is based on Brother Tim Fook's inquiry the other day with you. He said that with a person that suffers from bipolar disorder, would it be helpful to use watching the breath to calm the mind?
Did you say watching the breath? No. How to practice meditation, is it? You didn't ask about, it wasn't specifically mentioning breath.
The breath.
Anyway, what have you got to say?
I just wanted to share this experience.
Not too long.
Not too long. About 3 years ago, I was with this lady, a young lady who suffered from, who had symptoms of bipolar disorder. She had these moments of high and moments of low. So when she was experiencing her highs, it wasn't a great problem. But when she was experiencing her lows, it was quite terrifying because she was very terrified, she was very fearful, and it manifested by her body trembling. I remembered that, her fears, her anxieties were all caused by too much thinking, right? And then Sati also said, hey, remember the retreat you did with Ajahn Suttep, where Ajahn Suttep said that if you cut off thinking by focusing your attention on the hand movements, thinking stops, and your thinking stops, the suffering stops. So actually what I did then was, I sort of got hold of her attention and said, follow me. It was very lucky that she followed my instructions. So I said, just follow my hand movements. So, well, she was still trembling and very fearful, but she followed my hand movements. And as she did it, as we did it for a while, she actually calmed down. And I thought I would just share this with someone that, because sometimes if you use your breath as a way of calming the mind with people with such high anxieties and such incessant thinking, it may not be helpful, because as soon as you close your eyes, there's more thinking. But if you focus your attention on movements, it's more helpful in this way.
Okay, thank you. Husband Kumara wants to say something?
Bhante, just now you were showing the Samadhi Bhavana Sutta, the 4 kinds of samadhi. And I thought, as I was looking at it, I saw that the jhana is connected, 4 jhanas is connected with calm abiding and all that.
Not calm abiding.
Was it calm abiding?
Comfortable abiding.
And something, comfortable.
Comfortable
Pasu
abiding.
viharo, okay. Then the contemplating on the 5 aggregates, the kind of characteristics of the 5 aggregates that leads to
The destruction of the cankers.
destruction of cankers. So as I was looking at that, I thought, could this be the basis or the beginning of the Visuddhimagga splitting of Samatha and Vipassana? The basis for it. It looked like that to me. That this could be where it all came from. The Visuddhimagga's separation of 2 kinds of meditation.
Came from here, you mean? Why?
Yeah, I mean, it just occurred to me. Just an idea. a hunch.
Okay. Yeah, you can research on that and start a new workshop next time.
If this sutta is only found here, I mean, in the Pali, and not found in other traditions, it makes it more likely now.
Yeah, according to Ajahn Sujato, he didn't quite like this sutta because his idea of samadhi is jhana. And he said that this sutta, there are only 2 suttas, there are only 2 occurrences of this in our Pali canon. One is in Anguttara Nikaya, and the other one is in Sanghiti Sutta, in the Digha Nikaya.
The Digha Nikaya. And does it occur in other, in agamas and all that?
I don't know about that. I don't think it occurs in other agamas. That's why he was rather skeptical of the authenticity of this.
Okay.
That's only what I think, only my perception and my sati. It might not be correct.
Referring to your last slide, Bhante, where you say that, if you can show the last slide, you were saying that suffering is to be fully known, right? And fully knowing the first noble truth entails discovering its cause. And then once you know the cause, you're able to abandon it. I'm talking from my own experience. I often thought that if I know my craving, I know what my attachment is, then, I can let go of that attachment. But I found that it's easier said than done. So when I was attending Tejaniya's course, I think about 4 years ago, I was talking to him about this. And then he told me, he said, you can't do the letting go. And then I was so stunned. I said, if I don't do it, who does? And then he said, then I think he had compassion. He saw, because I looked so stunned. Then he said, it's panya. And then when I reflected on it, I understood. Because it's actually the right, and he said, the next part he said was, when you feel a dis-ease in the heart, so that's dukkha. He said, the cause is always wrong view. So I reflected on this, and I found that whenever I'm aware of dukkha, I know that my view is wrong. And it's basically pointing to what you say. We always have expectations. But then when we have right view, when I noticed that as soon as I changed my view, as soon as I understood, the letting go just happens automatically.
No, but why do you change? Because you saw that it was wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. So You changed because you saw it was wrong, which means to say that you saw the cause of suffering, that's why you changed. Or else you wouldn't have changed, would you?
I saw the cause of I saw the cause of suffering, and then I said, oh, you have to let go of the attachment, you have to let go of the attachment, but it won't go.
Because the panya was not ripe yet. You haven't seen enough. Panya hasn't seen enough.
But then, Bhante, if I switch my view,
Who switches your view? Panya switches your view.
Panya switches the view.
So,
but as soon as Panya switches the view, the attachment drops away.
yeah, but how did the switch come about?
Through Panya.
Yeah, exactly. So when panya is not ripe, it won't switch. So when you see your attachment and you're not ready to let go of it, it means to say that panya is not ripe yet. Still have to see more, suffer more.
So you do need Panya in order to let go.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And the cause of suffering is not wrong view, but craving. And you said it was due to expectations, right?
But sometimes it's
and
also
it's clinging to the expectations.
But sometimes it's also due to right view, because when Sayadaw mentioned it, and then when I was thinking about it, this thing came to mind. In the past, before I came across the Dhamma, if any of my possessions are damaged, there's a lot of pain, right? But when he said that, I remember an occasion, because prior to that, I heard this before, through the teachings of Ajahn Chah. He said, always see the broken in the unbroken. So at one time, somebody actually broke and it's a new car at that time, it broke the side mirror. But as soon as I saw it, Sati came and said, see the broken in the unbroken. And there was no pain. So there was nothing like, what's the cause of this pain? Sati just came and said, see the broken in the unbroken. And which means that it's Panya that was actually seeing it.
No, there was actually Sanya taking the lead.
Sanya, yes, Sanya was very good.
Because of Sanya,
Reminding me.
reminding
me.
Right.
But then, so there wasn't that part about seeing what you are attached to. It was just Sati coming and saying, hey, remember, see the broken and unbroken.
Yeah, because of Panya is there, that's why you did not suffer.
Because there's no attachment to that thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, as just now, I think when we were talking about the fetters, right? And then Brother Panya here said that actually the fetter, he feels that the actual culprit is avidya, rather than desire or clinging, which is true, But it comes from avidya. Because of avidya, that's why you have clinging, right?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.